Hey everybody, it's Mr. Simons. Let's do a lesson here. All right, so we're gonna talk about the second part of functions that we left off on yesterday. All right, and so basically this part of functions is just us going through a little bit of notation and then just plugging things in and doing some substitution and some pretty straightforward math. All right, so this says equations that are functions can be written in a form called function notation. All right, so that's kind of important. For example, here's this equation, y equals 3x minus 8, which you should have seen some of in your past math classes. Well, all function notation says is that we're going to rewrite that y as f of x, and that's how we say it. We say f of x. All right, and that means a function of x. All right, and y is a function of x. All right, and so instead of writing y in there, they just write f of x, and you just need to know that those are kind of two equal ways of writing the same thing. And so you'll get used to seeing that. And so in a function, x represents the elements of the domain, and f of x represents the range, which you should know because f of x is y and the range is y. So the graph of f of x is the graph of the equation. So again, it's the same thing. Suppose you want to find the value in the range that corresponds to the element 5 in the domain. So when you write a function, if you want to find a certain value of something, they'll write it, instead of writing f of x, if x is 5, they do it quicker and they just write it like this. All right, and you read it f of 5. All right, and this is written f of 5. The value f of 5 is found by substituting 5 in, so you would just put 5 into the equation. All right, so on this one that they have, we would say f of x equals negative 4x plus 7. Find each value. So let's put 2 in. So f of 2 means we're going to take this f of x equals negative 4x plus 7, and we're just going to rewrite it with the 2 wherever you see an x. And you only see it in that one spot. So you wind up with negative 8 plus 7, and then you get negative 1. For b, you're going to rewrite the equation, f of negative 3. You'll rewrite that first part, so you'll go negative 4 times negative 3 plus 7. Figure that out. So that's 12 plus 7, which is 19, because your two negatives make a positive. And then you just add 1 to that, all right? And then just the f of negative 3 plus 1, you just go 19 plus 1, and then you get 20. All right, so pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated. Same thing with these, so I'll just kind of blast through these. So this first one, f of 1, just rewrite it, put 1 in. You get 2 minus 3, you get negative 1. On 4c, you just put f of negative 2 is 2 times negative 2 minus 3. So that's negative 4 minus 3. Remember, you have two negatives, just add them up. Keep your negative sign. All right, this one, you're going to figure out what f of 5 is and then subtract it from 6. So let's do that first. Let's figure out what f of 5 is. F of 5 is 2 times 5 minus 3. So that's 10 minus 3 is 7. And then you're going to go 6 minus 7. So then you get negative 1. So these are not complicated. It's just a matter of putting the numbers in and seeing if you can make it work, right? Seeing what you get. So the last thing to talk about here is if you have a graph that's not a straight line, it's called a nonlinear function. And this is a classic example of a nonlinear function. And the way you can always tell it's going to be a nonlinear function is there's going to be at least one variable in there that has an exponent of greater than 1. And so here you got that going on. And so that's going to be your, that's kind of your call that, you know, okay, This is going to be different. So same thing with these. You would just go h of 4. You just plug it in. 16, and you just got to remember, sorry, not 14, 16. I always forget I have an eraser with these things. 16 times 4 squared, and it's a negative 16, plus 68 times 4 plus 2. And you just do your math. So negative 16 times 16 plus 68 times 4 plus 2. Well, 68 times 4 is going to be 272, I believe. Negative 16 times 16 is negative 256, and then plus 2. So 272 and negative 256 is going to give you 16 positive plus 2, and so your answer is 18. And then when they say 2h of g, right, you're going to take your result, whatever you get, and you're going to multiply it by 2. And the way you figure out h of g is just wherever you see a t, you put a g. So you have this, g squared plus 68g plus 2. And then you're just going to multiply everything by 2. So you get negative 32g squared plus 68, or not 68g, 136g, and then plus 4. That's it, guys. It's pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated. I think you guys got this. Just put it in and make sure you're remembering your order of operations when you're multiplying, and you should be fine. All right.